certainly the 1.9 million carrot, if we can put it that way, that has been dangled, could be seen as, you know, the PAP engaging in pork barrel politics. But I wonder whether would it make a difference because the PAP is the incumbent?
I get it, upgrading is good, but if we're really talking about a ward where a third of the people live in 1 to 3 room flats, how much is a jogging track really going to be the first thing on their minds?
So Dr. Chi has been very good in coming out with a slew of promises, right? But I think behind all that, there'll always be the question of, you know, can he really deliver?
SDP has been out of parliament, 20 over years already. And he, as a Secretary General, you know, he is a heavyweight compared to, I don't know what, compared to Morali. And if he still cannot enter parliament this time, I think that is the end for him.
SDP and Dr. Chi, for some crazy reason, have decided to essentially make him the main issue in this election by having this nonsensical slogan, "Now is the time." I mean, now is the time for what, really? Okay? Now is the time essentially for Dr. Chi.
He's standing in the next election as a politician. Would that go down if he doesn't perform well in this by-election?
Would it matter? Look at the other politicians in the other parties. They are even more horrendous, SDA and all that, and they keep on coming back again and again.
If the most experienced opposition party is struggling to manage a GRC town council, how can we depend on less experienced parties to manage town council?
I think that's exactly why Murali made his comment. I don't think he said that if you don't vote me in, you will not get the 1.9 million. I think what he was trying to say, and I'm trying to read his mind, sure, but this is what I think he's trying to say, is that if you don't vote me in, you will not have me and the PAP party machinery behind executing the $1.9 million worth of projects. You're going to get in a new team of people who's untested. But if you vote him in, then you have the whole backing of the Jurong Clementi Town Council, which has a proven track record, etc., etc., etc.
Because the opposition party, whichever one you vote for in whichever constituency, it doesn't just have to advance or defend your own interests to the national level, it also has to defend that constituency from the hegemonic party. For example, regarding our junior, right, Goh Chok Tong said maybe under Lutakan it will become a slum soon. Lee Kuan Yew said they have 5 years to regret. Even repent. And even Lee Hsien Loong also mentioned very specifically and explicitly that of course, in terms of bureaucratic resources, we will put people who vote PAP first because it is fair.
You cannot have social media election in Singapore as long as you have compulsory voting, whereby a huge segment of voters vote only because the state tells them to vote, and they are not interested in politics at all. The global average for turnout rates in those countries where there is no compulsory voting is around 60-65%. In those instances, your social media can have tremendous impact. Why? Because every person that turns out to vote is politically engaged.
Yeah. Talking about a very heartlander crowd, you know, and I want to be clear, I don't use heartlander in any derogatory way, because we're talking about a very high concentration of public housing. I think the sort of close quarter engagement that Mr. Murali has been engaging in, you know,
the door-to-door.
Yes, away from the megaphone. I mean, if you talk about who craves the media more in the lead up to today, I would say Dr. Chi. You know, he's all very well timed, and but I don't think you can win an election through YouTube and WhatsApp. Yes, you will reach out to the younger voters, but I think people still want to be connected. People still want to be able to have a sense of who you are.
We keep hearing or reading on online forums is how Dr. Chi betrayed Singapore. That's because so many people cannot see the difference in that, PAP is not Singapore. It's just that there's a big population that sees the PAP as being all of the above. So because Dr. Chi spoke against the PAP or the government, it meant PAP betrayed Singapore. And there's a lot of, from what I understand, ill feeling about Dr. Chi having done that.
Every politician around the world has to run on their record. And all of these things, whether your record lasts for 20 years as a politician, all of these things have to be scrutinized. The question then arises, can you make this baggage that he has completely irrelevant in the by-election and in future elections? The answer for me is yes, you're able to do so. If he did this, and if he did this several years ago, that is to say, to tell Singaporeans that he repudiated what he did in the past, he apologized for them, and that he asked Singaporeans for forgiveness because in those years he was politically mature. Now, if he had humbled himself that way, I believe that the vast majority of Singaporeans, being reasonable, would say, fine, this man has totally changed.
As recently as 2013, the Punggol East by-election, right? In the lead up, he suggested to WP, let me run as a candidate for the Punggol East by-election. If I get elected, WP, you can run the town council, right? I mean, in a way, he is saying that he's not sure that he can do the job, right? And I think that was something that DPN Thurman picked up very, very early on. So I think yes, there are all these plans, and I think voters, will be interested, will be excited, But I think when they sit down and do their sums, in terms of, will it come to reality? I think that's where track record, competence, ability, trust, will play a very big role.
Chee Soon Juan happens to be quite a different opposition as compared to the other oppositions. What he's proposing and how he's coming across is fairly different from what you see in Workers' Party. So for that reason, there could be a small proportion that basically says that this could be an opposition who is a different opposition that could be worth voting in. On Workers' Party, they have proposals, but they have not pushed as hard as what Chee Soon Juan said that he will be pushing. So it could be worth thinking about it, whether Bukit Batok residents will vote along with that in mind. Yeah.
Municipal issues are very important. Who is going to manage better is important. But exactly who will be better, and that goes to my point, which is the party effect. So the party will be the one to help to manage the municipal issues.
I read a paper by, I think, Professor Hussein Muttalib saying that before the GRC system was actually implemented, there were actually more minority candidates in parliament than there were after the GRC system was implemented. So I think what has been done has institutionalized racism rather than help in any affirmative action programs to help.
Perhaps not racism, but racialization.
Racialization, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so I really think that there is really race will not be a significant factor. If you take even our first by-election, Anson by-election, JBJ was not Chinese and he won a by-election against a PAP candidate who was Chinese.
I was quite surprised when I heard my friend's grandmother, she wanted to vote for Dr. Chi, and when I asked why, she said, I don't know, I just don't want to vote for the Indian guy. And
all you need is 5%, 10% of people who will cast their vote on the basis of what I call ethnic association. I wouldn't put it any more stronger than that. It's not racism, it's just ethnic identification.
Or comfort.
Yeah, and you know one thing, since GE 2015, what has happened? The ballot papers got the pictures of the candidates there. So your grandma and the many other grandmas and grandpas out there at Bukit Batok, some of them, they'll say, I don't know what this fella's name is or whatever, but he certainly looks like me, so I'm going to vote that way.